Okay, welcome back to the second part of this lesson, the move operations. Okay, we started it in the last lesson. So if you did not watch the first part of this video, please go back and watch it before coming back here, because it's a continuation of a two-part video. Okay, so we have already studied the move instruction in the previous lesson. So we are going to continue with the copy. Okay, the copy instruction. You can copy on array. So while the move instruction is more generic, the copy now is more specific, because you can only use this copy block when you are copying you are copying from one array type to another array type. Okay, so the copy function copies a series of contiguous elements from one array type into another array. The array are of different or identical type and the target zone is fixed by the parameter of the function. Okay, so what you should note when using this function is that the copy function can result to unintended data values. For example, copying input values on output values can lead to corrupted data and unexpected behavior of your application. So what you should take into account is that check the data being written to the target array if it's valid, okay, especially when you're using the copy block function. So failure to follow this instruction can result to death, serious injury, or it may compromise your application or the equipment that you are trying to monitor or you're trying to control. Okay, so some of the functions of the copy block include copy array. So this one, the first one, copies an array of extended boolean into an array of integer. Second one copies an array of extended boolean to another array of extended boolean. So these are similar data type. You can copy. Okay, we copy extended boolean to another extended boolean. These are different data type. We copy extended boolean to an array, and here we have extended boolean to a double int, and copying from an integer to an extended boolean array, and here we are copying from a double int into an extended boolean array. So the copy block is just like the move block with some specifications. Okay, here you have no right to tell the block how the data type should be, because as long as you are using the copy block of array bool eBool to array eBool, then you must use, okay, the source array should be eBool, the destination array should be eBool. For this, the source array must be eBool and the destination array must be integer. Okay, so that is it for this copy block. All right, the operation remains the same as the conventional move block like we saw in the previous tutorial. All right. Okay, now we have the swap operation. So it's a permutation of bytes of arrays. So it is also an operation that is carried out on an array. Okay, we can, using the this environment, this software, we can always swap arrays of bytes. We can always swap the bytes of an array. Okay, we can swap it in a variable that's not an array variable. So the swap function carries out permutation of the last or the least significant bytes and the most significant bytes of the element of an array in the in-out data and reassign it to the in-out data. So here we have, okay, so it's a kind of feedback. So the output is feedback to the input. So when the swap is performed, the output is swapped back to be sent back to the input. So two functions are available. We can either swap an array of integer or can swap an array of words. So we have swap array word and swap array int. Okay, so we have used a swap array int to simulate this function. All right, to explain this function. So you can see here that is a swap block swap array int. Okay, so that's its nature. And when this push button goes high, okay, the block becomes enabled, and we have AA. So A is the array. All right, so we have AA, and in that scenario, you see that the bytes of A, okay, for each of its elements will be swapped. All right, so this is the expression before. So like we have an array of 6 elements beginning from index 0 to index 5. all of int type, and this is the operation before the swap. They have these values in their hexadecimal formats. Okay, so these are the values in the hexadecimal format, and after the swap operation, you'll see that here our most significant byte is 43 hexadecimal and the least significant byte is 12. After the swap operation, the most significant byte becomes 12 and the least becomes 43. Likewise, this also. After the swap operation, the most significant byte becomes A1 and the least becomes 41. Okay, and so on for all of the different arrays. All right. So after the swap operation, okay, so you can clearly see this is the operation after the swap operation. So for the first array, 43 is now the least significant byte and 12 is the most significant byte. Let's say for element 5, okay, we have the sixth element, we have B5 and 0F. If you look before, 0F was the most and B5 was the least. Now B5 is the most and 0F is the least. Okay. All right, so that's how you can perform the swap operation on an array. So you may be swapping, you may have some predefined operation where you are constantly swapping back and forth or toggling inputs back and forth in the same location. Okay, so you are just moving them back and forth. So you can use a swap operation to constantly swap them rather than declaring several variables and performing the swapping one after another. And so this becomes very easy when you are using the swap operation. Okay, so the same will apply for the swap the word. So what would change is just the data type. So here we'll just change this to word. All right, then everything remains the same. Okay, so what we are going to now do is we are going to go to our software and try to build this logic. So we are going to go and create another instance of an array of int type. Okay, just like we did for the initial one. Right, so by doing so, I will go back to my software environment. So go back to data types, go back to derived data types. Okay, this time around, I can just call it ARR. Okay, and I will choose an array. Okay, so you select array, validate it. Since we'll be working with int, I'm going to select an array of int, and let's say it should be 5 variables. So 5 variables will end at 4. So whatever variable that you want to, the amount of variable, okay, really doesn't matter. So it's int, and then I will select okay. I will analyze the project so that goes away. Good. I will now create an instance of that. Okay, so I can call it let's say I call it X, for instance. Okay, it says that X already exists. Okay, we have used X in our previous operation, so we can't use it anymore. So which variable can I use? Let me just call it C. It's created me C of that type. Right, if I pull it down, you see, created me C of 5 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. So I'll go to my environment now, and for my environment I will now search for that block. I can just type it. I will type swap. Okay, swap array int. Okay, make sure that you don't make an error with the spelling. Alright, so I will put a p contact there, and I'm just going to browse for one variable in the library. Okay, I have variable table, so I can let's just say I chose pb3, assign it there, and then I will browse for this also, and I will choose C, which is what we created. I'll browse for this also. Now, good. So I'll build a project. We'll analyze. We have an error. Let's see what it says. It says that Dynamic array is disabled. Good. Okay. So this one feature that you should take note. Okay. So this environment by default, okay, dynamic array is has been disabled. So we have to enable it. Okay. Dynamic array has been disabled. So we cannot function when our dynamic array is disabled. So by default in the software it is not enabled. We have to enable it to perform this operation, because you can see that we are modifying on the same array. Okay, on the same array we are changing its bytes, so it makes the array dynamic. All right, so we have to enable it. So to do that, we are going to go to our tools. Okay, so we'll go to project settings, and we will search for variables, and under variable we are going to now allow dynamic array. So we'll check this box, then we are going to apply it. Yes. Okay, so if you take OK, it will just be active for this project. But if you apply it, it will be active for as long as the software keeps running on your PC. So I'll take OK. Good. So you see the error has gone away. Okay, so we can now analyze the project, and we have now no bug. All right. So that was something to note also. Okay, so we are now going to connect. Okay, so already connected. Okay, what we just need to do now is to transfer the project to the PLC. Okay, to do that, let me disconnect the PLC first and build the project. We have not built the project. So build a project. And now I can connect. Okay, after connecting, I can download it to the PLC. Okay. Okay. All right, good. So we now have our C. We are just going to bring it in our animation table. So I'll browse for it. So here, I think you can also just type the name and it will come up. Let's say C. Good. So it is there. I'll put it down. Okay. So right now it is all okay. 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to change it to a display format. I want us to put it in a hexadecimal format so that it makes sense. Okay, so I'll put it in hexadecimal format. Let's say we just say this 2. So hexadecimal format. Okay, so let's just put okay, good. So everything is now in hexadecimal. I could have put it in binary, whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to give it some value. Okay, so let's say we have the value, let's say E. Okay, so we have that value. Let's say we also have this hexadecimal value. Let's say 1, 2, AB. Okay, so let's just allow it at that level. Okay, so when we perform this operation, this will be swapped, but we won't notice anything because they are all 0, 0. Let's notice that here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead now and enable PB3. I will just call it here PB3. Okay, so we are under modification mode. I will set it to high. Okay, good. So notice that it has been swapped. Okay, 4, 3, 3. We have 4, 3, E3 and AB 112. Okay, so if I push it down again, I push it up, it brings us back to where we were initially. Okay, so you see, so you can see what this function can do. It swaps array contents. Okay, so if we had values here, it would have done it for all of these array elements. Okay, hope that was clear enough. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so now we have an exercise. Exercise says that you should design a PLC ladder logic program that will continuously update the data from one block to another block every 20 seconds. Okay, Good. So you can pause the video and take some time to try that exercise. All right, welcome back. So this is the exercise. Okay, this exercise, I'm just using a pause timer to constantly move. Okay, A to B, constantly move A to B after 20 seconds. Okay, move A to B after 20 seconds, move A to B after 20 seconds. Okay, so you can see that this timer, when started, this timer goes high, pause timer, it will count 20 seconds. After 20 seconds, it goes up, and when it goes off, it will pull down the pin and the timer will start again. And in that at that instant, it will go low. And when it starts again, this goes high again, the value of A is transferred to B. So it's transferred to B whenever the timer goes low and high again. Then it is transferred, A is transferred to B. Okay, so let's see how that will work in our environment. So we are just going to, we will just use this function. All right, we are just going to use this function. And what we'll do is we're just going to introduce a TP timer. So I'll modify this, I'll shape this up a bit. And I will just bring in a TP timer by just typing TP for pause timer. Okay, so I'll paste it here and I will give it its initial value 20 seconds. Okay, so I will put a normally close contacts there, and I want to take its output. I want to take the output of this pause timer. So I will just double click here, browse. Then I will have to go to function blocks. Then I will have to check this named by default. So this is my pause timer 1. So you can clearly see the name pause timer 1. So I will open it and then I will pull down it to see its parameters. So I'm interested in its output. So this is its output. It has two outputs, internal time and kill. So I'm interested in this one. So I'll take it. Okay. So I've taken it. I'm interested in that one. So when the program starts, the pause will count, the pause timer will be counting. So at that instant, what happens is that data is transferred. And this, I will now replace this contact with A. I'll replace the label of this contact with this timer. So I will browse again. For it, I'll just pull this down and take the timer outputs. Okay, so on every rising edge of this output of this timer, this value will be moved to this location. Okay, so I will just have to now build this application. Okay, so it should take me back to the run mode. Okay, so now the output, you can see the output of the timer is high. Okay, so the value has already been sent to the outputs. The value has already been sent to the outputs. Okay, in that one click that it was all 0, 0. So if I modify it, okay, let's say I modify this value 6, modify this value to 69, and modify this value to say 7. So after 20 seconds, that value will move here. Good. So you see, these values have been copied there. And again, if I perform a modification on this parameter, perform some modification. Again, at 20 seconds, that value good. So you see the values constantly update after every 20 seconds. But after every 20 seconds, there is a writing pause that comes here. And it updates the data. Okay, so one more time. So it's going to update it again. So that's updated the values. Okay, so you can clearly see they're exactly the same. Okay, good. So that was it for that exercise. Now let's see what we have in our presentation. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this lesson. So in this lesson, we have now understood that the move instruction is used to copy data from the source to the destination, and the swap, okay, swap array or swap array word, array integer or array word is used to swap the data of the input memory, okay, or the register. Okay, in this case, we are swapping, okay, data in different array locations. Okay, so the copy block, okay, the copy block copies series of contiguous elements from one array to another. We have already explained that. Okay, and we also saw some use case scenarios where you can use those different blocks and how the data can be processed. Okay, all right, so thank you very much for watching, and please, if you see this video, if you find this video helpful, give it a thumb up, share it with some of your friends who are also interested in programming PLCs, okay? Because to me, PLC programming, control system, controllers is fun. So those who are interested, you can subscribe for regular updates. I'll be making several videos on PLC logic, especially. So don't forget to hit the subscription and notification bell. And in the next section, we will look at the selection operation, how we can select one input, okay, we can select one option from several options, or one input from several inputs. That's what we are going to be looking in the next session. Okay, so once again, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.